Okay, well, thanks very, very much, everyone, for coming along to help us launch our new picture book, Out of This World, The Surreal Art of Leonora Carrington. Our book was published in the US in January by Balzer Bray, Harper Collins, and is now distributed here in the UK. The idea for this book began in 2013 as a collaboration between the author, Michelle Markel, and me as the illustrator. Michelle, who actually lives in LA, and has flown in specially for this event, and I met here in Cambridge following the publication of our first book together, The Fantastic Jungles of Henri Rousseau, which is also there, which you've probably seen. And that was published by Erdmann's Books for Young Readers. Since 2013, Michelle and I were in communication a continent apart as the book developed, and it's been a most fascinating creative journey for me. And it has been great to collaborate with Michelle throughout this project, and we've had a lot of communication, I think we can safely say. I'm delighted to introduce Michelle to you, who is back in Cambridge here, as I say, especially for the launch of this book today in the UK. We will then have a reading from the book by my actor-director friend, Bella Stewart of In Situ Theatre Company, Cambridge, whose work many of you will probably have seen. Bella's reading will be followed by the cutting of the Surreal cake, when we will toast the memory of the wonderful subject of our artist's biography, Leonora Carrington. Leonora's birthday was actually on the 6th of April, and she would have been 102 this Saturday. The Surreal cake has been specially designed and made for the occasion with an icing illustration, which is edible. And it's baked by Fiona Patissiere of Ely. Fiona has supplied an allergen notice, particularly for any children present, so please do check out the little notice if your children have allergies. We would like to also thank Claire Goodhead and the others at Heifer's Bookshop for hosting this occasion for us. I will now hand you over to Michelle.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you so much for coming. I'm so happy to be here to celebrate the publication of this book. Andre Breton said, "Only the marvelous is beautiful," and I think our book is beautiful, and I feel so fortunate that Amanda illustrated this book and honored the spirit of Leonora Carrington, who was a rebel and a woman who believed in the rights of women to express their gifts. And I think her spirit rubbed off on both of us, because in America, the publishing company picks the illustrator. We're not, as a writer, we're not allowed to say who we want. But we decided, Amanda and I, that we were going to do this together and break the rules, and we did it. And I'm so happy. And me too. So thank you so much for coming. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay, so we're going to ask Bella to kindly read some short passages from the book.
Leonora's parents wanted her to be like every other well-bred English girl, but she was not. At the age of 4, Leonora started scribbling on the walls, then on paper, and soon the pictures came flooding out. She sketched the birds that peered at her from the stained glass windows of her mansion. She sketched the horses she'd seen at stables. She drew maps of make-believe planets and illustrated fables about their native creatures. How she loved fantastic tales. Her grandma told her enchanting legends from Ireland, the land of their ancestors. The stories took Leonora to worlds that shimmered beyond this one, and when the spirits flew and the gods stirred their cauldrons and the fairies shifted shapes, something flew and stirred and shifted inside of her. Though she drew more fancifully and more often than most proper girls, her mother and father took little note of it. They wanted her to become a lady, then a rich man's wife. So when Leonora turned 9, they packed her off to boarding school. But her dreaminess went with her. She could neither pay attention nor follow rules. The teachers said Leonora was unteachable and expelled her from one school, then another. Still, at Miss Penrose's academy in Italy, Leonora made an important discovery. On visits to churches and galleries, she saw paintings that opened into forests full of knights on horseback, into glittering cities where people dressed in luscious, coloured garments. The art reminded her of places she'd been before in her favourite stories. Leonora wanted to paint her own imagined worlds. She refused to find a husband at her debutante ball and every other fancy place her parents forced her to go. There was only one thing she wanted: to become an artist. An artist. In those days, that was highly unsuitable, especially for ladies. Leonora's father was horrified, and her mother was worried. "You're going to be an old maid at 25, she warned. But her parents gave in and sent her to art school. Leonora's timing was perfect. A group of artists called Surrealists was stunning London with their mysterious creations. One of them, Max Ernst, made collages of startling sights. A lady with a bird for a head, a creature whose body sprouted leaves. When Leonora saw his pictures, it was like a match was struck inside her.
Thank you, Bella. Okay. Oh,
Cake.
this, amazingly enough, is a cake. I've never seen such a pristine cake.
Incredible.
And it just seemed to grind to cut into it, but I'm going to. And there's a quick release ribbon. Ta-da! There we go. And I don't know quite where to cut it, but I'm just going to cut.
In a surreal way.
In a well, yeah. Okay. I'm going to cut it here. Should I cut it here? I think so, yeah. Okay. It's huge, isn't it?
It's a very high cake.
What's inside it?
It's,
Oh,
so I'm going to do it like this. And of course, that's going to be very difficult for...
Look at that. So,
Okay.
so come have some cake.
So, okay, I think then Claire's going to very kindly take over. So who would like to have the first piece of cake? Raise your glasses and join us to toast Leonora Carrington.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Saturday.